There is now more data showing that COVID-19 is tearing through Trump counties. And of course, it has to do with the lower vaccination rate. So I have a couple of graphs to show you here. But first, this data is from NPR. So they write here, NPR looked at deaths per 100,000 people in roughly 3,000 counties across the U.S. for May 2021, the point at which vaccinations widely became available. People living in counties that went 60% or higher for Trump in November 2020 had 2.73 times the death rate of those that went for Biden. Counties with an even higher share of the vote for Trump saw higher COVID-19 mortality rates. In October, the reddest 10th of the country saw death rates that were 6 times higher than the bluest 10th, according to Charles Gaba, an independent healthcare analyst who's been tracking partisanship trends during the pandemic and helped to review NPR's methodology. Those numbers have dropped slightly in recent weeks. Gaba says it's back down to around 5.5 times higher. Now, there was actually a story on this earlier in the year, I think from a few months ago, showing the same thing. This is just even more data showing this, but taking a look at the two graphs they have here, counties that went heavily for Donald Trump have seen much lower vaccination rates and much higher death rates from COVID. So first, looking at the vaccinations. So the overall average is the black plus symbol. Average of heavily Biden counties is the blue, and average of heavily Trump counties is the red. So you see here the percentage of adults vaccinated for Biden voters, or Biden counties, I should say, it's higher. For Trump counties is much lower. And of course, that leads to the death rate. So deaths per 100,000 since May 1st is much higher for Trump voters compared to Biden voters down here. This is obviously connected. Now, what still kind of blows my mind is that Trump is vaccinated. Like, he was one of the first ones to get the vaccine. Now, I know he didn't heavily promote that he got the vaccine, but it eventually came out. And then he even said it during one of his rallies later on, after he was already out of office, that he got the vaccine. Yet still, people are not getting vaccinated. Like, if that's not going to do it, nothing's going to do it. Like, I know I have no power over any Republican voter and their choice to get the vaccine, so I don't even try to convince them anymore because I'm not going to convince them. But it's remarkable to me that in the face of all this data, and not even just forget the data, of course they don't care about data, but powerful people, including ones that they love, like Donald Trump, getting the vaccine, even in the face of that, they're not getting it. You know, if the vaccine was not good for you, all the wealthiest people and politicians would not be the first ones to get it. They wouldn't be getting it at all. So, what is the logic behind these voters not getting it? And of course, it's not just the voters, it's also the counties. So there are, unfortunately, people that are in those counties that may be more at risk because of their age or because of their health risks that are now more at risk simply because they're in a Trump county, even if they may have voted for a Democrat. More here from HuffPost. Though demographics varied widely among the counties, NPR determined that the single biggest factor in the dramatic difference was misinformation about COVID-19, which was linked to lower vaccination rates. That held up even when controlling for age, which is the primary demographic risk for COVID-19 mortality, NPR noted. The study found the higher the vote share for Trump, the lower the vaccination rate. Quote, an unvaccinated person is 3 times as likely to lean Republican as they are to lean Democrat, said Liz Hamill, vice president of survey research at the Kaiser Family Foundation, a nonpartisan health policy think tank. Polling by the foundation revealed that Republicans are far more likely to believe false statements about COVID-19 and vaccines, but all but 6% of Republicans believe that one or more false statements about COVID-19 and vaccines might be true, and 46% believed 4 or more statements might be true. Only 14% of Democrats tend to believe 4 or more false statements about the disease. So again, showing you the clear partisan divide here on the misinformation around COVID-19. Now, this 14% are the ones that I try to talk to when doing COVID-19 stories. A lot of that worry is around Big Pharma and, you know, how they can't trust Big Pharma and all that. But you can acknowledge how capitalism, how the healthcare system essentially is commodified, how that is a horrible system. And of course, Big Pharma making a ton of money off of these vaccines. You can acknowledge that is terrible, but that is a problem with capitalism. That isn't a problem with these vaccines. The science behind the vaccines was largely publicly funded. So you can't claim that these companies are simply making the vaccine to make money, even though that is a major piece of it. Of course, they wouldn't be doing it otherwise. But understanding that the basis for the vaccine, the research behind it, is publicly funded. All these companies are doing is taking advantage of that opportunity. So, and of course, just think logically. They want people to stay alive so they can keep giving them more pharmaceuticals. So, what would be the point of killing people with a vaccine? It's not going to help Big Pharma. But, when it comes to the right and their conspiracies about the vaccines, I don't even try. I mean, if you're going to believe some of that shit, I don't know what I can say to you. But it is, I don't know, I guess not surprising to see this. It's just amazing to me that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that Trump got the vaccine. It doesn't matter that high-profile officials and wealthy individuals have the vaccine. People are still questioning it, and it clearly is leading to more deaths in those counties.